What's up, everyone? I am TokuTylor, and today we will be talking episode 14 of Lupinranger vs. Patoranger. This was a great week for Toku, I think, because Kamen Rider Build had an awesome episode, just really, really cool, and this episode just adds to the whole awesomeness of Toku this week. So very, very cool. Anyway, we begin with the Patorangers searching this mountain area for a strange sound. There's been some reports of strange sounds coming from this area that could be gangler related. This area was going to be used for a field trip for preschoolers. And Keiichiro talks to them and he makes a promise to one of these students who wants to help, who basically wants to fight the monster that's stopping their field trip and everything. And he wants to stand up and face the bad guys. Too bad the kid likes the Lupinrangers more than the Patorangers. He even says it right to Keiichiro's face and just runs off, so that was funny. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, I like the Lupinrangers more too, but still, he says it right to his face. But anyway, something is still going on beneath this mountain that they're searching, so we then go to the Gangler Mansion, where the newest Gangler, Togeno, wants Boss Degranio to come to the human world to observe his master plan to kill one of the Patorangers. He thinks this plan is going to work because he has actually teamed up with another Gangler, or Odoro, I think is his name, Odoro Maximov, who actually has some history with the Patorangers. We'll see what this history is later on, but we then go to the bistro, and the Lupinrangers have their next target, which is, surprise, surprise, Togeno, who's been, is working as a hitman, basically. He's been killing people for money, so that's what he does in the gang, kind of. And they ask Kogure what his collection piece does, and he says Togeno's collection piece can let him shrink. He can shrink the body just like a normal shrinking ability, sort of, which is important later on, as we will find out as well. So the Patorangers are driving, and they are stopped to help this man in danger. Togeno is chasing this man for some reason, and we see the Patorangers transform to fight, but during the fight they are distracted by this echoing voice. They don't know where it's coming from, it's all over the place, so that allows Togeno to get away, basically. The man then shows them what he found that caused Togeno to chase him. It's a little drill vehicle. It's an actual VS vehicle drill, which most of us know what that is as soon as we see it, but he gives it to the Patorangers and then runs, which is kind of sketchy, but I can understand him being afraid. But Keiichiro then brings it to the Patoranger base, and they talk about it, and it's kind of small, the drill. It's like a little small vehicle, but Keiichiro decides to use it to dig beneath the mountain, to find out what's underneath it. And even though they haven't tested it in the field, which is what they do when they get a new vehicle, apparently they send it to Paris or something to get it tested, but they haven't really used it in the field, is what Tsukasa is saying. But we then meet the other Gangler later on, Odoro, who has a grudge against the Patorangers. Apparently, Odoro had a brother. So Odoro is like a white sheep, and his brother is this black sheep, and they each had one of the two new vehicles as their collection pieces, which is new, because we haven't really seen any Ganglers who are in possession of vehicles as their actual pieces. So Odoro has the crane, and his brother, the black sheep, had the drill. And this is where the past sort of comes into play. During the Patorangers' fight against that shark gangler Love Room, the shark one who abducted people, during that fight, Pato Kaiser was accidentally sent, sort of back, and he accidentally stepped on Odoro's brother. And ever since then, Odoro has had the need for revenge, so we now know what his grudge is against the Patorangers. After they come up with their plan and everything, we see the Lupinrangers in the, hiding around the corner, and they follow them in order to get two collection pieces at once. So they kind of think it's their lucky day. But anyway, the Patorangers arrive at the mountain, and Keiichiro equips the drill vehicle onto his changer, and he launches it, thus giving him this cool drill vehicle. It's really cool. So he digs into the ground and starts his journey to see what's underneath the mountain. Togeno and Odoro are on their way to the mountain to fight the Patorangers, because this is part of their plan, but they are then ambushed by the Lupinrangers. They fight, but as it turns out, Odoro does not have his collection piece. And in order to get rid of the Lupinrangers, because they have a plan, the Lupinrangers basically ruining their plan at this point. So Togeno takes his collection piece and just throws it. Togeno just wants the Lupinrangers to go away so they can continue their plan. So he chucks his repainted Ninja Shuriken into the forest, and the Lupinrangers go chasing after it, and that's pretty much all we see from the Lupinrangers in the episode. But yeah, it's basically repainted Shuriken from Ninja. It's just gold and green. But so I thought that's another repaint. But anyway, back to Keiichiro. While drilling, he has a flashback to when he was younger. When he was younger, a strange man was terrorizing this local park. So Keiichiro tries to protect it. He puts on like baseball gear. He has a helmet. He's got like a bamboo training sword. I hope I said that right. But he's got like a pot lid as like a shield. So it's just like the little kid at the preschool. He was dressed up like a Lupinranger and he wanted to help and stuff like that. So this is really important to him. It's a really important moment in his life, because an officer comes up to him while he's like this, and he makes him a promise to catch the guy for Keiichiro, because he's a cop and that's his job, and that's, so he's basically saying that he will do it because he's a cop, it's his job, reassuring Keiichiro that he can do this. And it's, much like earlier when he was trying to promise the kid that he would do the same. Anyway, later on in the flashback, the officer catches the culprit and puts him in the back of the police car and everything, and Keiichiro sees the whole thing. So the officer turns around and smiles at him because he notices Keiichiro's in the crowd, and he gives him a salute. Keiichiro smiles, and I think this is what inspired Keiichiro to become a cop in the first place. It was that moment where he saw justice. He saw a bad person get put away by a good man, and it was really nice to see that. Then, after the flashback, inside the drill cockpit, Keiichiro gets shot in the back with these spikes. Togeno used his collection piece to shrink and go inside the drill and plant this little like pod thing that spits out his spikes. So he set a trap for Keiichiro or whoever was going to be in the drill. So now Keiichiro is poisoned and is trapped underground without any way out, and he's got no medical help as well. So the Patorangers are now worried about him, and then the Ganglers show up afterwards, and it turns out the man they helped, who gave them the drill vehicle, was actually Odoro in disguise. And I should point out, he was wearing, the guy was wearing a lot of wool, like a wool hat, wool sweater, sorry. So it should have been kind of obvious that the sheep guy looked like this in human form, but anyway, Tsukasa and Sakuya are a man down, and now Boss DeGranio has arrived to watch the Gangler's plan unfold, and Keiichiro gets back up, continues to drill, even though Commissioner Hilltop tells him to go back and get some help. He just keeps going to see what's under that mountain. I should also point out that this is the first time the Patorangers have ever seen Boss DeGranio. They've probably gotten word of the boss's name and everything because they've been investigating the Ganglers this whole time. That's what their unit is meant to do. And So they probably know his name because Tsukasa says Degranio, but this is the first time they ever see him in person. So it's a really big moment for them. And the fight begins. Odoro summons these cloud things. They're like sheep's wool. And they are the things that have been causing the echoed voice, that have, derailed the field trip, that distracted the Pato earlier. And so this is his power. It's sort of like a distraction thing. But the Pato soon shoot them all down, and the Gangler's plan falls apart, and then something really, really cool happens. And before I say what happened, I should say after shooting down the cotton things, Odoro was also killed by Sakuya with the Trigger Machine Biker. So I wanted to point that out as well. So now there's just one Gangler left. But for wasting his time, Boss DeGranio taps his own shoulder and unleashes one of his saw blades. It starts spinning around. You can't really see it anywhere, but when it lands on the ground, it sends out this huge shockwave that devastates both sides of the fight. It was so cool. It was like this big, like, dark matter explosion. It was so awesome. And in this moment, we see why DeGranio is in charge. He's scary, he's so powerful, and he even mentions that he earned his seat. It's not something that can just be taken. You have to earn it, and it's just a really cool moment for him. We finally get something of DeGranio that is, worthy of his title. So it's a really awesome moment in this episode. So Boss DeGranio leaves, and Goshu revives Odoro, the sheep guy, and without Keiichiro, they can't form Patokizer. So right as when Odoro is about to step on them, just like they stepped on his brother, a crane arm bursts through the ground, and Keiichiro drives the new Trigger Machine's crane and drill into the battle. It's so awesome, and I really love the crane vehicle, actually. I was so excited for the Scissors and Blade vehicles, but these are actually really cool Trigger Machines. They're really cool. And even though he was poisoned, he powered through it, and we get an awesome fight with Crane and Drill. In the fight, Keiichiro uses the crane to, like, hit Odoro a lot, like punching him with the crane, and then he lifts him up and just throws him, and then he pins him against the wall, or pins him against the mountain, and then it creates a ramp for the drill vehicle, and it just rides up the crane arm, and then does this final, like, drill attack. It's just so awesome. I love that new Trigger Machine. But even though they won the fight, Keiichiro has passed out from the poison, and we end the episode with a major cliffhanger, because Keiichiro just drops. He's had enough, and he can't really. We see in the preview that he's in the hospital and everything. So the Patorangers are a man down, and the other gangler, Togeno, escaped after DeGranio left. So we still have him to deal with as well. But altogether, final thoughts. This was possibly the best Patoranger episode so far. There was serious plot, a clever trap, and we get to see a taste of DeGranio's power finally. And also, they left on Keiichiro just passing out, and that's it. And it's so cool. This episode is just so good. I enjoyed it so much. And we got the new vehicles, but Keiichiro is really hurt, and that's going to affect the Patorangers in the next episode. So, really, really good altogether, even though Keiichiro is like, he's out. He's out for a while. So, really, really cool. So, thank you guys so much for listening or watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell to be notified of future videos. And I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.